Well, hi, everybody. Welcome to the webinar. Here we go. I'm excited, guys. I have so much cool stuff to share with you today. So welcome to all these people who are here. I'm just looking at the list here. It's a nice list of people. I see some friends here that I'm happy to welcome. I see a lot of members here, of course, that I'm happy to welcome too. Thanks, guys, for being here today. We are going to cover a lot and we're going to cover it quickly. So, usually I start these webinars by logging out about a half an hour early and I hang out and I answer a bunch of questions. Today, we're just going to dive right in because we have so much that we're going to cover. So everyone, if you can just let me know that you can hear my voice, that would be fantastic. I'd love to see that pop up here in the chat. That would be super cool. I am going to be keeping an eye here on questions that pop up. Thank you, Vipin and Ernie and Natalie, and see a bunch of people. Robert Alexander's here. Awesome. Love you guys. So glad to see you here. We are going to get this sucker kicked right off. Who's ready? Tell me you're ready if you're ready, because here we go. Here we go. I'm going to turn my camera on, make sure you guys can see me. So let's dive in. Welcome to this session. It's called Brilliance and Abundance Are Yours, and it's about a lot of great new stuff that's happening here at Happy Grasshopper. So for those of you who don't know me, my name is Dan Stewart. Thank you for attending today's session. I'm super excited to dig in and help you. Now, unlike many webinars, there's not going to be a ton of preamble here. We've got a lot to cover. We're going to move quickly. So grab a pen and paper. You're going to want to grab this stuff. What I'm delivering for you today is a mini masterclass. That's what you're going to get. And part of this masterclass means that you're going to have to really dig in, right? I need you to dig in with me today, because if we're going to change your current results, we've got to make progress. We can do that together. We can do that today. So the first thing that we're going to do is shatter some roadblocks. Like anything and everything you want to influence in your life starts by influencing yourself. You know this. So your mindset is absolutely critical and important, particularly when it comes to engaging the people that are in your life, right? Those folks that are in your database, your past clients, your leads, your referral partners, your vendors, all those sorts of people that you interact with on a regular basis. They need to hear from you, right? And they need to hear from you in a way that's conducive to them sending more people your way. So we're going to cover that. We're also going to talk about the just must-have business model. This is no longer optional, not in 2019. There's too much data, there's too much proof. If you are not doing what I'm showing you today, something needs to change because you're being left behind. So wherever you are in your business, maybe you're just starting out and you've got a sense of, oh, there's so much to learn. That's okay. Right? Maybe you're super experienced. Maybe you've got years of success. You've got a great track record and you're concerned about all the changes that are coming, right? All the changes in the market, all the changes in technology. Everything that I'm going to teach you today protects you from those things. So if you're brand new, you're in the right place. If you're super experienced, you're also in the right place. Today, I'm also going to deliver to you the #1 lead gen strategy, and better still, it's free. How cool is that, right? Anything that's free is usually super popular, and in this case, there's no better way to generate leads. You will never get a better lead than through what I show you today. So as we go through this, we're going to dig into a little bit of data, we're going to do some math, and we're going to figure out exactly how much money could be hiding in your database right now. So I know a lot of you folks, when you come to a webinar like this, you're hoping to really learn like a few tips and tricks and things you can do that are going to put you ahead. We've got those for you too. So if you're a lead gen monster and you need to convert those leads, I'm going to help you do that today. We're going to teach you how to absolutely dominate in your market. Not enough to just win, dominate, right? And we're going to wrap all this up with a super clear path for you to execute on. Right? And this isn't something that's going to take like years or months or weeks. This is a strategy that if you take it to heart and you actually use it, you can put this to work literally right away, So I'm committed today to really delivering on this promise. That's what you can expect from me. Everything I tell you, I'm going to back up. It's all proven. There's no guessing. right? We know what to do to influence your results. We know this because for more than 8 years, we've been helping people just like you. We have over 10,000 members today. We send content to over 11 million people. That's a huge amount of data that we get to see. Hundreds of millions of messages that we deliver each year. And each time we send a new message, we get a little bit more data about what's working well, what's not working well. So it puts us in a really unique position to be able to help you. And that's what today is all about. So I'm going to take that track record of success, my history of being able to help people really break through, and I'm going to apply all of that to you today in a super, super focused session. So if you don't know me, you don't know anything about my background, that's totally fine. There are a lot of people on the internet that are offering advice. Today, I'm one of those people, right? So I want you to know a little bit about me so that you can understand. I didn't just like pop out of my job yesterday and decide that this is something I want to do. I have a long track record of being a successful entrepreneur. And I'm not telling you this to brag. I'm telling you this because I really need to impress upon you that the way I've built my career is by doing exactly what I'm going to show you today. So many of you have seen me out on the road. I travel around the country quite a bit. I'm fortunate to get to speak at a number of events. And occasionally I get to speak somewhere where I probably should shave, right? This was last year. I got to speak at the Harvard Club. That was really cool. And then I went from the Harvard Club right over to NASDAQ. So that was a pretty special day for me, for sure. That's one I won't forget. And again, everything that I'm teaching you today makes these sorts of things possible, right? Because the brilliance and abundance that I'm promising you today, it's already there. It's already available to you. I just need to show you how to get after it, right? So no matter what your dreams are, no matter how big they are, no matter how monumental they may seem, I promise you that they are possible. I promise you that you can achieve them because I have. And, you know, I didn't start with a great start, and yet I've been able to apply what I've learned today to build a life that I'm really proud of, right? I live on this horse farm in Tampa, Florida with my wife and kids. We actually just celebrated our 24th wedding anniversary on Monday. It's like blank. I can't even believe that happened. And as special as this is for me personally, what really feels great is knowing that what we're doing is helping so many people get to live their dreams as well. So, you know, if you want to tap in to all of that brilliance and abundance that surrounds you, there's one thing that you've got to get really good at, and that's database nurturing. That's data-based nurturing. So I know when I say those words, you go, oh yeah, well, I know what that is. I'm going to challenge that today because I do not believe that most of you think of database nurturing in the way that you need to really tap into all that brilliance and abundance. So the way that we're going to do that is by helping you understand that when you get database nurturing right, everything's easier. Oh, it's so much easier, right? You've got systems and processes. You're very, very consistent in the way that your business operates, and that creates results for you. And those results improve over time, right? And yet I understand that this, for many of you, is not the first time you've looked into doing something to really improve the way you're working your database. So if we're going to bust through these roadblocks you're running into, we've got to identify them. And the first is that this stuff is pretty complicated, right? It is. If we look at your business and all the different ways you can acquire new contacts, new customers, new referral partners, oh gosh, and you mix it all together, you can start down this path, and it's really easy to get to a point where you just feel like, oh, it's too hard, or it's taking too much time. It's like, you know, trying to put any sort of new habit in your life. It's not easy. So let's recognize that a lot of people, when they do this, they struggle. And if that's you, that's okay, right? You don't have to struggle. That's always a choice. It's always a choice. And the good news is that we're going to simplify a lot of these processes. So rather than thinking of database nurturing as this maze of different lead sources and lists and tags and groups and segments and frequency, think of it as being very, very, very simple, right? Because when you boil it all down, there's just two components. It always comes down to the message and the mechanics, right? So the message is very important. That's what you say. That's how you present yourself to the world. And the mechanics, of course, that's all the machine that makes it happen. So if we really take a look at anyone's business, I think you'll be able to relate to this, right? So yeah, give me a yeah, I get what that is. Who feels like they're riding a roller coaster sometimes in their business? Go ahead and tell me. I want to see it here in the chat. I'm looking for your answers. There's always a bit of a delay. Here we go. Oh, a couple of questions here. I always pay attention to the questions. This webinar will be recorded, right? So you definitely want to take notes, but you don't have to screenshot every single slide. Don't worry about that. Yeah. And you know, I see a lot of answers here. Yeah, sometimes you do feel like you're on a roller coaster. Of course you do. And today we're going to help you understand that a roller coaster is really something that's highly engineered. It's designed. Like every single foot of that track is measured carefully. And you know, the ride actually starts long before you get in the actual roller coaster itself. The ride starts when you get on the line. You know, I'm a Floridian. I've grown up around theme parks, right? And the moment you show up at Disney World to get on Space Mountain, there's a sign that tells you about how long you're going to wait, right? And then there's all sorts of things while you're in line to keep you entertained, right? They have these little displays set up. And what they've done is something that you're capable of doing in your business. And that's creating a systematic experience for every one of these folks that you have in your database, right? So I want you to think about that, because a systematic experience is something that takes a little effort. It takes a little design. It takes some time to think through exactly the experience that you want to deliver. And all of that's very important. You know, is your roller coaster family friendly, or is it one that only the bravest people in the world are going to get on, right? Is your roller coaster designed to attract wealthy, high net worth individuals, or are you looking to serve the rental market, right? You can equate what it is you're trying to accomplish in your business to the ride that you're designing. And that ride, as you create it, consists of three parts, just three. You've got to get leads. That's not an option. You must get leads. You must close sales. And of course, you must wow clients. Every business on the planet has these same three priorities. Mine does, yours does. No matter what business you're in as you're watching this, I'm going to go ahead and wager with you that you need leads, right? And you need to close sales. And of course, you must get out there and really deliver. You've got to wow your clients, or the rest doesn't really matter. Right? It's you win a client once, you don't create that repeat referral base that really lifts you above the plateaus, right? So let's recognize that their experience that they have with you equals your income. It's that simple. If you deliver a great experience, you can expect to earn a great amount of money. If you're not delivering a great experience, well, the results speak for themselves. So I'm going to encourage you to be very, very deliberate in designing the experience that you would like people to have when they're working with you, right? And then stick to that, because you're going to be much happier as an individual when you're certain about what you stand for, right? If you plant your flag in the ground, you can rally people around that flag. But if you're trying to be everything to everyone, you're going to find yourself in a state of suffering, right? So it's not up to you how they react to the experience you provide. That's up to them. Like, some people are going to love it. Some people clearly are not. And that's okay, right? That's absolutely okay. We know that firsthand. I mean, that's been our experience here at Happy Grasshopper. Way back in 2011, when we started, we actually sent our first messages in 2010. but it was just an experiment. We didn't even incorporate until 2011. And when we did that, it was just one email. That was it. All our members got the same message and it went out. And it was a hit. Surprisingly enough, it surprised us. And we ended up with all these great testimonials from people. We quickly, scaled to 100 clients and 200 and 300 and 400. And it grew and grew and grew. And we got these great, great bits of feedback. And then we heard something from our members that we had to pay attention to, right? They loved the results they were getting from that one email, and yet they wanted more. They wanted content that they could use to convert leads. They wanted content that they could use for recruiting. And in order to provide that, we had to expand. We hired a team of writers, and those writers began interviewing our members, and that created this whole second whirlwind of growth for us. So, we started venturing out in the world. We traveled all over the country. We brought our trade show booth to places like you can't imagine. We traveled so much. And as we did that, our reputation grew. Like, we got all these great little bits of praise about how effective our content was. And, it was really, really interesting to see the impact that this made in the marketplace, because some of the things we saw were completely unexpected. Like Brent Daly, for example. He had 10,000 old Boomtown leads, and we rewarmed him up. We sent one email to 10,000 people, and he found 17 transactions that were hiding there. I mean, just crazy unexpected that would happen. Right? We have people like Wes here who started booking appointments immediately, and Carol finding listings immediately, and it just, over and over and over, we started seeing that the approach we were making was really, really effective for people. And yet it hasn't been enough, right? It hasn't been enough because the world is constantly evolving and changing. The way we communicate is constantly evolving and changing. And so today I'm just overjoyed to announce to you all the brand new things that we're doing at Happy Grasshopper. So, as you know, we launched with email. And then in 2018, we also started writing content for social media. Well, here in the coming weeks, we're launching text messaging. We're launching voicemail blast. We're launching print, which are handwritten cards. We have a robot that holds a pen that writes cards for you. It's absolutely amazing. And of course, we're also integrating with Facebook Messenger. So what this means is that Happy Grasshopper is now your hub for all the types of communication you'd like to have with your database. So, you may have another CRM system. Happy Grasshopper is the no-brainer addition because we're making sure that all of your messaging is separated from the lead source. Okay, this is super important. Your real estate agents with IDX sites, you're with one provider today and you want to switch to another provider. Wouldn't it be great to know that all your follow-up content was coming from a separate source? Wouldn't it be great to know that all your contacts, all that information isn't trapped in your brokerage? It's in your own account. We can provide all that for you. So let's talk a little bit about timeline. So beginning this quarter, these things are available. So if you're currently a Happy Grasshopper member and you would like to be upgraded to our new platform, I need you to write upgrade me right now. Put that in the question box for me. Just write upgrade me and we will upgrade you. Okay. So for almost 9 years, I've never raised prices for existing members. And all of you folks who are already our member, I will not raise your pricing. How cool is that? You've been loyal to us. We're going to certainly be loyal to you. So today we've migrated several hundred of our existing members into our new platform. And for those members, handwritten cards is live now. So you can start using that service immediately. Super, super cool. Very next thing to launch is going to be voicemail blast. That's going to be live here by the end of June. And then immediately following that is the Facebook Messenger integration. And then about 4 to 5 weeks later, we'll have the SMS portion live. Okay. So the reason I explain that is because if you're not our member currently and you're thinking about using Happy Grasshopper, now is absolutely the time that you want to start doing that, because you're going to pay yesterday's prices rather than the new pricing model that goes live once all these features are launched, right? So let's get down to business. Let's take a look at how much stuff is in your database. Let's find out how much money is in there. That sounds like fun, right? So we're gonna do some math. I know, math, right? Oh, who loves math? Everybody. Everybody in business should love math, absolutely, because in this case, it's super simple and it connects to something you want, which is more money. So here's how it works out. There are 2 to 10 transactions per year for every 100 contacts that are in your database. 2 to 10. So let's break that down. Think about 2 to 10. That's a huge range, right? So if you've got 2 to 10 transactions in there, why would there only be 2 when there could be as many as 10? Could be a lot of things, right? It could be that you don't have the right content going out to them. Could be that. It could be that you're not communicating at the right frequency. It could be that you're treating them solely like a sales target instead of like a human being. It could also be that the people you have in your database really don't have any respect for you. They don't know who you are. There's no relevancy of the relationship. So the thing that we're going to accomplish together with database nurturing is to pull those strangers closer, right? And for those people who are already close, to even deepen that relationship. It's so, so important to do that, because all the change that can happen in the world, you know, if it's iBuyers, if it's a technology change, if it's a downward shift in the market, whatever it might be, having those really tight relationships with the people in your database, that's what protects you from anything and everything that can happen. It's those relationships. So, you know, I look here in the question box and I see all these people saying things like, upgrade me, upgrade me, upgrade me. I love it. I love it. And I see a couple of you are adding your names there. You don't need to do that. We'll know who you are just from entering upgrade me. So that's awesome. Yeah, all you people who've entered your information, we're going to reach out to you. You'll be in the next batch of folks that we're migrating into the new platform. Now, to walk you through the nitty-gritty of database nurturing, I'm going to do something very cool here. This is a first time on a Dan Stewart webinar, so I hope you guys appreciate this as much as I do. I think this is really fun. And what I'm going to do is pull out my whiteboard. So here's how this is going to work. All right, so you guys should be able to see my whiteboard now. And yep, go to webinar is telling me that you are. So I have my pen in hand here. I'm going to turn off the camera so you guys can see the whiteboard as much as possible. And we're going to dig in here with the database nurturing model. So database nurturing, you know, if you think about all the things that are out there, like there's not a brokerage, there's not a CRM platform. I mean, practically everything has some type of solution for this. And a lot of it just isn't effective. It doesn't work, it doesn't penetrate, it's just unwanted clutter and noise at a time when everyone is already so busy. So to cut through that, we've got to just start with some basics here, and that's where we're going to begin. So we all have to have traffic of some type. Whoops, I almost made an E. So I'll erase that real quick. So traffic, let's talk about what those traffic sources are for you. You know, in real estate, for example, we have all sorts of ways that people might come to you. Probably at the top of the list would be referrals, right? Yeah, that's what we'd hope. If you're doing a good job, you should get lots of referrals. You may be doing things like open houses, right? You may have an IDX website. You may have, you know, buying leads from the portals, right? You may do all sorts of advertising. You could be doing, oh, let's see, maybe you're making prospecting calls, right? Maybe you've got this big face-to-face network, you know, friends from church or school or kids sports, community service, whatever it is, you're seeing people face-to-face. That's a great way to do it. Others of you are out there door knocking, which some people absolutely love it, and other people are like, I would rather never even hear the word again. And the thing about all of these different ways that you can generate business is that you have a choice. I mean, this is what's so beautiful here. You don't have to use all of these, right? You can just choose which ones that you're actually interested in using. So, a lot of the folks that I talk to will say, hey, I'm really focused on doing a great job. Most of my business comes from referrals. Maybe you do some open houses, right? You get some face-to-face stuff, right? And for others, it could be, oh, we have a big ad spend with the portals. Or, I've got a great IDX site like our buddies over at Firepoint or Real Geeks or Real Estate Webmasters. Or Commissions Inc. or Boomtown, right? There's all sorts of ways you can grow your business here. And whatever it is, this model is going to work. So what happens as you're feeding these leads into the system is some type of capture, right? So if you're sitting at an open house and you're using a sheet of paper to sign people in, that's a method of capturing. If your website is capturing people, that's another way. And then you've got essentially two choices about what happens next. You can take the manual approach, right? That sounds fun. You have all these intentions of calling everyone who visited your open house, or, sending them an email. There's a lot of things you could do here. Maybe you'll call, maybe you'll text, maybe you'll email them. Maybe you'll send them a video, right? There's an unlimited number of things you could do, and yet to do any of them, you're going to need a lot of discipline. You've got to have discipline if you're going to do that. That means you need a routine. You can't just leave it to chance that these things will happen. You're going to have to schedule it. And, you better have a passion for it, because if you're going to keep up with this, you've absolutely got to have a passion. You've got to have a routine. You've got to have the discipline to keep it going over time. And speaking of time, well, gosh, you're going to need that, aren't you? You're going to need to calendar block time to do all those follow-up tasks. And of course, that won't even be enough, because then you'll need knowledge. You'll need to know what you're going to say, when you're going to say it, right? You're going to need to know how long you're going to keep saying it for. And, for all that to work, you're going to have lots of patience, lots of it, because you're going to follow up with people who register for something 8 to 12 months on average before they're even willing to talk to an agent. And that's an enormous amount of time to have to follow up with people, right? So those are the 6 things that you must have if you're going to go the manual route to do this. And I don't consider any single one of them optional. In fact, I consider some of them impossible. I know you folks. Patience? Come on. Really? I mean, knowledge? Yeah, I have a lot of smart clients. I absolutely do. Knowledge is huge. We learn from each other over time. Knowledge is a great thing. But do you have the time to build that knowledge? I don't know. Do you have a passion for making all those follow-up calls and leaving voicemail after voicemail after voicemail? Does your life structure where you can really run a routine? A lot of people can't. And so the number one ingredient, the irreplaceable ingredient here is discipline. If you're pursuing the manual route, you've got to have discipline. So let's talk a little bit about the automated route. Okay, this is door number 2. And a lot of you will have this sort of thing in place, right? Your IDX provider, your brokerage, they provide some sort of tools. You're probably sending some kind of search alerts, right? Those aren't bad. And yet, when you look at the data from NAR, hey guys, do you know the data? 85.5 million digital leads per year for 5.5 million transactions. The average lead, think of this, your average buyer, they're receiving messages from up to 10 agents. And if they've registered on one of the portals, they might be syndicated to 6 agents or more just from that one registration. So there's a lot of competition that you've got to overcome to really cut through the clutter. And if you're sending search alerts, that's not bad, and yet it could be so much better. The reason it's not bad is you're delivering valuable data that hopefully they're interested in. The reason it could be so much better is because your competition's doing exactly the same thing. This creates a huge, huge opportunity for the real estate world today because we've got some threats on the horizon. We absolutely do. And if everything you're sending is screaming, we're all the same, you're a lot more replaceable than if you're planting your flag and you're communicating to people what's unique and special about doing business with you. So this is a huge opportunity right now, massive opportunity. So earlier when I talked about dominating your market, the way to do it is to dominate the way you're following up with those leads. You've got to send them content that helps them really see you as being unique and special. And that probably means that maybe you stop reminding them to clean out the gutters, right? Change the air filters. Maybe you don't send that recipe. There's a lot of things there that are easy to send that, again, don't really cause you to stand out. So there's a lot here, guys. There's a ton here, and there's still more that we're going to cover, because if you're going to really pursue database, it shouldn't be about just having a model. It should be about achieving mastery. So what is database mastery? Well, database mastery comes down to 3 simple components. The first one is organization. Who feels super organized? Raise your hands for me. I don't see anybody raise their hand to say, yay, I'm super organized. Because salespeople generally are super busy, and it's easy for things to get messed up, right? It's easy for things to get buried at the bottom of a purse, or have that open house sign-up sheet that gets lost in a folder somewhere. And those folks are never pulled into an organized, structured means of communicating with them over time. And that is just a huge, huge opportunity loss. So this is the thing that stops most people. Wherever you are in your career, if you want to break through to the next level, having organization in your database is a prerequisite. And that's why for us, it's the very first thing that we tackle. So, if you're confused about how to do this, we're going to break it down, because, right now you've got contacts everywhere, right? They're in your email, they're in your phone, they're in your IDX, they're in your MLS. Where else are they? Your lead sources, right? They might be in the portals, right? They could be in one or more email accounts. They're certainly on social. There's a lot of places your contacts are hiding. And, you may have one person who's in multiple places. So, the thing that has to happen is you've got to export all of these people to a common place, right? So when you export from each of them to a common place, they need to be deduplicated, deduped. They've got to be case corrected, case corrected, right? You don't want to say greetings to someone with a lowercase Dan, right? If my name is Dan, just, capitalize it correctly. It's pretty simple stuff, and yet this isn't the kind of thing that anybody is really an expert at unless they do it all the time. So that's why we do this for all our members, because it's just so much, right? So we've got to take that off your shoulders. That's important. And then the second thing that we've really got to own, we really got to come accountable to you for, is automation. So there's lead capture. That's huge, right? There's also response. There definitely has to be there. And then there's all sorts of other things that could be automated that may be useful to you. Like, do you know about Zapier? I mean, isn't it great that you can have a lead come into your IDX source or your portal or Happy Grasshopper or Follow Up Boss or wherever it's going. And using Zapier, you could also have that entered into a Google Sheet, right? So then you've got a nice separate record that's capturing everyone, like super, super easy to do that. And again, like if you're not pulling those levers every day, that can be a real confusing mess. So the third thing that you've absolutely got to own if you're going to become a master of database nurturing is content. And I just cannot stress this enough, because if you've got all the organization in the world and you've got all the automation in the world, you have nothing unless you have great content. Nothing at all. And if you have all the great content in the world and you don't have organization, well, you can't possibly deliver the right message to the right people at the right time. You know, it takes all three. I mean, automation alone is not enough. How many of you have subscribed to a service like Infusionsoft or HubSpot? You know, you've got all the horsepower in the world, but without the organization and without the content, it's really hard to turn that database into the money printing machine that it could actually be for you. So, you know, we absolutely have to start with these disciplines. And once we own these, then we can move into the next phase. And the next phase is all about campaigns, right? So I'm going to sketch out just a few simple campaigns here. And we'll talk about, like, we'll call this one lead response. Whoops. Lead response. So we've got a timeline here, right? And in that timeline, from the point the lead is generated, there are things that happen, right? Maybe it's an email. Maybe it's a text message. Maybe it's a voicemail blast. Maybe it's a handwritten card, right? It could be all of these different things, and yet they've got to be set up at the right frequency. And then they've got to be set up for the right duration. I mean, how long should these things go? So general rule of thumb for you is that early, you want to be more frequent than you'll become over time, right? So as we move through time, these get farther apart, and that's okay. Like the idea here up front is that if someone is a near-term possibility, you want to pull them in quickly. You want to give them every chance to have a conversation with you. And the way to do that is to send the right sort of content. So let me sketch that out for you. And we're speaking generally about content. We have to start with a question. A question leads to a conversation. So critical. You know, if you're not asking anybody questions, you can't possibly have conversations with them, right? Conversations are important because it leads to it leads to relationships. Right? Relationships are important because it leads to opportunity. And then opportunity, of course, is important because it leads to closed deals. Right? So critical. I cannot stress enough that questions are where it starts. So if your first message to someone who's just registered is a question, that's good, and yet it's got to be the right question. You know, if I'm a buyer and your first question to me is, have you spoken with a lender yet? Or are you ready to go look at homes? Those are really difficult questions for me to answer because I don't know you, right? I don't like you, and I certainly don't trust you yet. You know, like, and trust, it's cliche for a reason. Know, like, trust. So let me ask you a question. Which of these is more important? That they know you, that they like you, or that they trust you? Go ahead and tell me in the chat. I want to see your answers. Oh, my Lord. Catherine, Natalie, Gary, Karen, Jeffrey. Oh, folks, I'm so glad you're here today. So far, the number one answer here is trust. It seems like that should be right, doesn't it? I mean, trust seems reasonable. They have to trust you. Well, the issue is that trust is not enough. guess what, guys? I trusted my real estate agent, and they weren't you. Of course they're going to trust you. That's a given. Why would they hire anyone they can't trust? It's not enough for them to trust you. The most important thing is that they like you, right? If they like you, they're going to want to have conversations with you, right? That brings you down this filter. So mindset here is the number one thing. If your mindset when you're communicating with the people in the database is one of engagement, right? If you're constantly dropping love bombs on people, if you're reaching out and you're dropping these positive breadcrumbs all over the place, if you're finding a way to get out in the world and make someone's day, you are building muscles that they will feed you the rest of your life. I absolutely promise you. I mean, being a sales professional is not easy. There's an emotional toll, right? The way people react sometimes when they hear what we do for a living is so negative. And it's not as easy as we like to say to just let that roll off our backs. It's not. And yet when we can walk into a grocery store or a hotel or wherever we might be, and we can light someone up, right? Or we can deliver a few magic words to them and have their whole day improve, right? We're teaching ourselves that we're likable. We're showing the world that people like us, right? We're building the belief that people will want to engage with us and that they'll like us, right? That is so critical to our long-term success, so critical. And I tell you this not as a guy who's always been likable, but as a guy who spent most of my childhood moving around. I was that super shy new kid, right? I didn't want to reach out and engage with people. And then I discovered if I could walk into the guidance counselor's office and deliver some positive breadcrumbs, like it would be a lot better year for me. You know, if I could walk into the new class and make people laugh when I had to say who I was and where I had just moved from, things went a lot better for me, right? So there are lessons we all carry from our childhood, and I think we all know that being liked is super, super important. So if you want to be chosen more often, if you want to win more transactions, we've got to start by being more likable. So that's a muscle. You can work on that muscle. Now, we're moving at a blazing pace here. We are 43 minutes into this session, and I've dropped a ton of knowledge on you so far. I haven't dropped enough, and I can't possibly drop enough with the amount of time that we have here. So here's what we're going to do. Here is what we are going to do. I am going to set aside time in my calendar, and I'm going to make time in my team's calendar over the next week to spend time with you personally. So here's what I'm going to ask you to do. Go to happygrasshopper.com/next-steps. Okay? And when you go there, you're going to find a calendar, right? And you'll be able to register, pick any kind of appointment time that you want, and then you'll get a phone call. See if I can draw a phone here. What do you guys think? Is that kind of phone-like? Not really. So you're going to get a call, right? And that call is either going to be with me or one of my team. And if you're our member, we're going to walk you through the new platform. We're going to show you exactly what to expect in there. We'll get you upgraded, and we'll get you ready to send out those handwritten cards, which are absolutely beautiful. It's so easy to do that in our system, and there's so much value there. So the way that this call is structured is that it's for you, completely for you. So if you happen to be our customer, I want to talk to you. If you aren't already our customer, I want to talk with you, because my highest value is making a difference today. And I don't know any better way to make a difference for you than to hear about the struggles you're having and what I can do to help them. So, you know, a great gift that life has given me is I get to work with a lot of smart people. So, you know, I'll have a client who will have a business model that wouldn't make sense for another client. And I'll learn from that, and I can pass that knowledge on. So, maybe I'll help you by making a connection to someone who can help you. Maybe I'll help you by figuring out a way to gather your contacts and organize them. There's all sorts of ways to do this. And, for total clarity, this call is free. There's no cost to do that. So whether you're my member or not, totally fine. I really am committed to connecting with you. Now, during that call, we'll start by reviewing you, right? So I'll just break this down for you because we're going to have some segments here. One, we'll get to know you, right? So I want to understand what your goals are. I want to understand the challenges you're experiencing, and then I can tell you a plan, right? So we'll review that plan together, okay? If, and only if, the plan makes sense to both of us, I may invite you to join, right? If I invite you to join, you're going to be loving Happy Grasshopper for sure. So I know a lot of you who are on the call today are already our members. We're super busy here. We've got a ton of stuff to do. What I'm not going to do, like I have 0 crazy offers. There are none, right? There don't need to be. Our service is value priced. It has been for years. So we're not rolling out any kind of crazy offers. What we are offering is solid advice and solid tech and solid content, right? So I'm going to scroll down here. I'm going to read the questions that have been coming in, and I would love to take a few minutes to answer these for you. So let's take a look here. Yeah, I see some requests here to get the link emailed to you, happygrasshopper.com/next-steps. So I'm going to ask my staff here to go ahead and drop that in the chat so you can have that there. And of course, we can email it out there. Oh, Catherine, I love your question. I absolutely love your question. So she's asking about my new book. And this book was supposed to be released in March of 2018. And we have been working with a very famous individual on the potential of having them write a foreword. And we're kind of still working through the tail end of that process. So I can't talk too much about that now, but I'm super anxious to push it out. I worked really hard on it. Michael, I see your question about when will the new platform be available. The new platform's available now. So you're our existing member. All you have to do is what you've just done, and we will get you upgraded into that platform. So Michael, if you could just enter upgrade me, we're going to search that through all the comments here, and then you'll be on the next list for people to be upgraded. Roxanne, you're saying that you've lost me. Can everybody else still hear me? A couple of people enter that you can there. That would be great. All right, awesome. Yeah, Gary, thank you. I see that. Thank you, Mia. Thank you, Jeffrey and Robin, and Catherine and Natalie. Awesome. All right, Keith, you're next on the upgrade list. That's no problem. So with these spots, there's a few things that are coming that I want to share. I have this super crazy travel schedule. So let me just share some things that are coming. This week on Thursday, I'm speaking in Minneapolis. And then next week, I'm in El Paso, right? So is anybody here in Minnesota or El Paso? Minneapolis area there of Minnesota? If you are, I want you to be my guest free of charge at the Explode conference, right? Definitely come see me at Explode. It's going to be awesome. So I'll put this link here one more time for you on the page, and it should be entered into the chat now as well. So happygrasshopper.com/next-steps. Okay. All right, so Jeff, you're asking about training. We have all sorts of people on staff here who are experts in training. There's a role here that's very special. We call it a success coach. So all of our new members coming on board, we assign them to one success coach who wraps their arms around you and your database. They get everything organized and configured. They project manage everything up to your launch. So this is awesome. And Robert Alexander, I love it. I can't wait to see you face-to-face there on Thursday. That's going to be super cool. And Jim, thank you. I see your upgrade there. Tom, I see your upgrade. We'll go ahead and do that for sure. Yeah, this is just such a really exciting time for us, guys. I can't stress enough. We have so many members who come in here today to take a look at this. And I think what I'm going to do now, just as a special treat for you guys, would it be okay if I did something special for you? I think it would, right? Do you want to see the new platform? Are you dying to see it? Can I show it to you? I think I can. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to go ahead and exit the whiteboard, and we're going to pull up a page here, and we're going to take a look. So let me get this out of the way. All right, so we're going to add a new page here, and I'm going to come to my.happygrasshopper.com. And you see I'm logged into a test account here now. I'll let you guys get a peek here at this. This is the dashboard page. So let me go ahead and expand this so you can see as much of this as possible. Give you guys a good look here. So this is analytics, right? You'll see your total number of contacts, your tags. You'll see contacts you have that haven't been added to an audience, and you'll see the folks who are most engaged here. Now, on the left-hand side, you'll notice that we've stacked up the content here a little bit differently. So we have your send types here from the top down by audience, by message type, your social media content, your campaign content, your write your own content, and of course, handwritten cards. And then here a little bit lower, you'll see that we've got a really expanded contact management area. And we also now have a great new email signature builder. We have the ability for you to use custom fields and custom forms as part of the application. So all that great training content that we're known for, that's still here in the webinar tab. So you'll continue to have access to that. I'm going to click here on the signatures area first. You can go ahead and click build a signature, click on a style you like, and just start filling out the form, and off you go. It's going to build that signature right next to you. It's super easy. You can add your images, you can choose to round them or keep them square, add your social media icons, you can change your colors, your fonts. You've got all sorts of great options there to build an email signature in the system. Now, custom fields is a super cool thing because this lets you add fields for anything you can think of. Like if you want to know what your client's dog's middle name is, you could create a field for that. Now, I'm not saying you should, but you could, right? You could do that. So having these custom fields is a really great thing because we have this super robust API. We integrate with hundreds of different services. And by having those additional fields, you can leverage our ability to send content in a whole new ways. It's really, really exciting. Next thing I'll show you, I'm going to jump right into handwritten cards, guys. I'm going to do this because this is just absolutely wonderful. So let's imagine that it's time to send say a transaction anniversary card, right? Well, you could come here and you could sort through all these different styles, right? Or you could just click the drop down, and like here you see thank you and business, birthday, every day. Oh, hey, look, there's real estate. Imagine that. So we'll click real estate, and then we'll see what options we have here. You know, maybe we want to do a congratulations on a new home message, right? Or maybe we didn't like that one. We want to pick another one. We have all sorts of options there. And I'm going to show you. Now we're going to look inside the card. And whatever you write here is what's going to show up. So, you know, if I wanted to write, congratulations, I'm so excited for you and your family. Serving you, whoops, was an absolute privilege. Right, just to give you an idea, just writing this real quick, and you see that turned into a handwritten card over here on the left-hand side. Now you might not love that font. Well, you can change that, right? So we can choose a whole number of different fonts that we might find better. You know, maybe that looks more like our handwriting, right? Maybe this one's more appropriate. Like there's all sorts of ways you can customize that. And then you can send this, you can save it, you can send it to multiple people, right? So maybe you want to batch send a holiday card. Well, that's super easy to do here. And you know, for all of you existing members, there's no additional charge to have access to this feature. You would simply pay a small card charge for each card that you send. Now, new members who are coming on at our new price points, which will be launched towards the end of July, there will be a different monthly rate that you're paying, and it is going to include a number of cards, a number of texts. It's all going to be built into a package that's really designed to help you optimize your database nurturing. So what do you guys think of these cards? That's pretty sexy, isn't it? I love this. I love this stuff. So let's see. Ding, ding, ding. There's some questions here I want to go through and answer. Tom, I'm not sure I understand your question here. You're asking about, I've been using fields, i.e. a contact is a client, a prospect, an agent, which is better? Well, generally, I like to teach that people really are in one of two categories. They either know you or they don't. So a client certainly knows you, where a prospect may or may not know you. An agent may or may not know you. And when it comes to sending the right messaging, that's really important. So let's see what else we have here. Keith, you're asking about the email signature. Yes, you can export those to use those in your email client as well. So Gmail, Outlook, whatever it is that you're using, those signatures will work there as well. Oh, I love this question. Do you mail the cards? No, you do not have to mail the cards. All you have to do is order the cards and we'll mail them for you. So they'll be handwritten by a robot. They'll be put in an envelope. And I can't tell you guys, you need to order a card and see how much it looks like a human being actually wrote it. It's amazing. You know, the Send Out Cards company, there are a few other companies that do these, and it clearly looks like it's just a font. Well, with these font sets, you'll notice that these letters are all slightly different, right? And when you look at the actual page that it's written on, you'll see that there's some variation due to the ballpoint pen rolling across the page. So it's really, really exciting there. So no, you don't have to mail the cards. And Robin, these are hard copy, of course, absolutely. All right, so your question, Crystal, on pricing per card. They start at $3.80. So there are some very spectacular cards in there that can run upwards of about $6. And I love that price point because I can't go to the Hallmark store and buy a card and get it in the mail for $3.80. I don't know any way to do that. So we've made it super easy for you. Let's see here. Texting and voicemail drop. Yeah, Jeff, I love that you're bringing that up. So I'm going to jump over here to campaigns, right? And I'm just going to preview a campaign here. So here what we're seeing is a sequence of messages, right? Where the email icon is here. Well, so as voicemail blast and texting come on board, you'll see an icon here for each of those with the content of the text or the message in the voicemail blast. And you know, there's a thing here, guys. I'm letting it all out of the bag. I can't hold back. I got to tell you guys. So we have a ton of clients who are voiceover artists. So you're going to have the option of having a professional voiceover artist record the voicemail that you'll be leaving, right? They can say something like, "Hi, I'm so-and-so calling from such and such's office," right? That gives you a way to position yourself a little bit differently. Or of course, you'll be able to record your own voice to use with these messages. So that's pretty exciting. So let's see here. Just, yeah, scrolling down a little bit, you'd see these icons and you'd see the different messages that are there. So I really love this new interface. I'm real curious what you guys think of it. I mean, this is a big upgrade for us. It's a big project to make this kind of transition. We've already migrated several hundred members into this new platform, and more are coming over every week. So let's see here. Michael says, I hope you have a lot of robots and a lot of pens. We do. We're well equipped for that. And these will be postmarked in Phoenix. So that's where the hub is that's sending these for us. So the postmark will show there from Phoenix. Tom, your question, what's the difference between tags and fields? So a field is part of a contact record. You can think of a field as someone's first name, right? A tag could be a source that you met that person. Maybe it was an open house, right? Maybe it was a portal lead. A tag is a way of grouping people, and a tag also allows a campaign to be triggered. So I hope that clears that up. Let's see, lots of questions. I love it, guys. Jeff, you're asking about how you'll be billed for the cards. So that's really straightforward. It's simple. It's already in your account. So when you go ahead and you order a card there, you're going to get a window that pops up that asks you to approve the billing, and then we'll just charge the credit card that's on file with us. So that's how that'll work. So guys, I want to kind of wrap this into a nice, neat little package for you. Looking at our product development roadmap, looking at the timeline that we're on, let me summarize these things for you. So right now, we're here in mid-June. Cards are live already, right? So the moment you upgrade, you're going to have those. And then as we move through time, let's talk about what's coming. We've got July. We've got August. So here before the end of June, we're going to see voicemail blast, which I'll just write as VMB, and we're going to see messenger, right? Texting is going to be live towards the end of July or early August. That's when that will be live. And the way we're rolling these out in the roadmap is we're wanting to make the features available to you as quickly as possible. And then we're updating all of your campaign content so that it can include each of these different means of reaching out and touching people. So it's a very strategic process that we're working through. And this is what I want you to see and understand. So we're going to make our pricing change end of July, early August. And again, if you're a member, that's zero impact for you. You'll just be buying cards when you choose to send them, right? And for new members, we're changing our model here in a way that I think is really, really cool. So we're reducing the initial investment that's required. We're increasing the monthly investment that's required. And we're moving to a model where there's a 12-month agreement as part of the structure. And this is really important for us in our growth as a brand because so many people that want to use our service, traditionally we're charging about $2,000 for a single member to start with us to go through and do all of the preparation and the writing that we do. So by reducing that initial investment all the way down to just $500, we're going to be able to help a lot more people. And then we're just kind of spreading that monthly investment or the rest of that investment throughout the rest of the year. So again, that doesn't really impact anyone who's already with us, but I want you guys to know about it. So our number one source of business is your referrals. So the more that you know, I think the better off we all are. Limits on text and email amounts. That's a great question, Jeff. We'll be announcing that here as we come live. There are no hard stops. It's all scalable. And depending whether you had a new account type or an existing account type, we're going to make some amount of texting available to everyone. And Crystal, I see your question. Any chance of having a monthly flat fee to send unlimited cards? Gosh, I don't know. I don't know that I can say yes to that, because there is a hard cost that's unavoidable. It's not a digital asset that we're sending, it's an actual card. So it's hard to have an unlimited number of those. But I am curious, those of you who are sending cards currently, how many are you sending? Like, how many do you think you'd need, Crystal? I'd love to know. All right, so one next thing. This is a really important thing, guys. I'm going to share this with you as well. We are just launching something called our HG Ambassador Program. So buddies and clients and honestly some of my dearest friends, people I cherish, like Robert Alexander, I would love to invite you to join our HG Ambassador Program. So as I travel around the country, if you're anywhere nearby, I will comp your attendance at the event. I'll pay your travel to come over. I want to hang out with you. I want to be able to introduce you to people who are considering using our services. And of course, I want to spend time with you. So anyone who's here, who's our existing member that would like to become an HG Ambassador, if you can just write Ambassador there in the chat for me, that'd be awesome. And let's see, there's so many questions that have come in. I want to try to get as many answered as possible. Here's a question. In reports, do you calculate conversion rates via the channel being used? So, I'm not sure that I know the answer to that right now. I'm sorry, Robert. I'll be happy to find out though and follow up there. Yes, thank you. Thank you. Yeah, I'm delighted I get to see you next week. That's awesome. Ambassador, all right, Ara, fantastic, love it. Yeah, this is great because with my travel schedule, like I'll be in, I told you, Minnesota next week, then El Paso the week after that, then July 10th, I'm speaking in Houston, July 16th, I'm speaking in Charleston. There's all this travel that is a just wonderful part of my life that I cherish, and the only way I can make it better is to spend some time with you guys out on the road. So, oh, Crystal, this is great. This is absolutely great. So 30 to 40 cards a month. Yeah, that'll of course we can help you with that. No trouble. Thanks for the maybe, Catherine. I appreciate that. Natalie, I don't have New York on my immediate travel agenda, but I'm always willing to travel to New York for sure. I'm working on a trip to Dallas. I have a large brokerage client there I'm looking to see towards the end of July. So anybody who might be in that area, there's a chance for us to get together. And Jeff, great question. I didn't really spend very much time on Messenger, and I need to do that. And look at that, I even left the R off. Let's fix that. So you guys know how you get your daily hot sheet. We're sending you a list of people who are engaging with your content. Well, we're going to queue those people up in Messenger for you. So you have a whole new way to start a conversation with people. It's a nice way to reach out and touch people when they're warm. So I'm super excited about that. And all of these things, by the way, all these new things that we're launching all come from the way that we have grown our own business here. So I know quite a lot of you will have chatted with me on Messenger, right? For sure. And, many of you may have decided to become our customer because I reached out to you there. And that was where we first really connected. So guys, I'm looking at the time here. It's now 10 after 4. I really appreciate your attendance today. I absolutely do. I love that there's so many of you that are still here. I'm going to go ahead and wrap up here in just a moment. So I'm treading some water right now. I want to see what other questions come in. I want to make sure that I can get these answered. And Jeff, I'm super happy too, man. You absolutely need to be an ambassador. Thank you. My longtime super user. I love it. All right. And in Dallas, that is not who I'm going to see. So maybe I should, though, while I'm there. So awesome, everybody. Have a great afternoon. Thank you so much for coming today. And I'll look forward to connecting with each of you again soon.